What's up, guys? Back with another episode of Early Bird Outdoors. It's been a few weeks here. Just terrible weather to get out fishing and, the busyness of, well, life, to say the least. In today's brief, uncut episode, we are going to talk about braid on a spinning rod. Kind of the do's and don'ts, according to me. I mean, if you guys have a better way of doing it that works for you, yeah, absolutely go. I mean, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I'm just going to show you the way that I do it, just for the sake of it, because I haven't posted anything in a few weeks or whatever, so, let's just talk about it. So, I hear so many people all the time on either social media or even Google, like, they'll ask, if you're going to put braid on a spinning reel, do you really need the monofilament backing? And the answer to it, there's not necessarily a right answer, but there's also kind of sort of not really a wrong answer. Because I know there are guys who will just put the braid straight on the reel and not care about it, For a long time, I was one of those guys. And I made it work, even though I didn't really understand what the heck I was doing. So there's that part of it. So personally nowadays, I do put a monofilament backing on it. And why is that so important? Well, let's bring the camera with me. So you don't want the line to like just slip and all that stuff off the reel. So yeah, I use a monofilament leader, and that's kind of just the reason why. First off, I already have it tied on there with my arbor knot, so that's good. Basically what you also want to do is just wet the line a little bit. That way it's kind of just not it's not slipping off of there and all that stuff. By the way, the noise in the background is my 14-month-old Henry. He's just messing around like usual, aren't you, buddy? No, you don't want to get into that. No, you don't want into that. No. No, thank you. But also, so we wet our backing a little bit. And so now what I'm going to do, so just for reference, this here is a Shimano size 2500 neck save reel. Got it a while back. I actually have another one coming in for the other rod that matches this rod. And this is a 6-foot Shimano Stimula medium light rod. And you're probably asking, well, Cav, why do you use such a small-ish rod for, why do I use smaller rods in general? I mean, because as opposed to like some of the 7'9" and like 8-foot rods that a lot of guys use, I do use a lot of smaller rods. And why is that? Well, I fish in a lot of areas where it's very close quarter casting. Like, I swear to God, you wouldn't believe some of the areas I fish in. Like, it's claustrophobic and all that stuff. But usually up here in New York, if it's a claustrophobic area and you've got structure, cover, all that sort of stuff, there are fish stacked up in it. So, I mean, that's always kind of the telltale sign for me, and that's why I like using a little shorter rods, because I like going up into those areas. I mean, that's just my preference, but anyway, we're talking about line here. So the braid I'm gonna link onto this is, we've got Spiderwire stealth braid. We've got 8-pound test. And why am I putting 8-pound test on here? Well, so I like using my medium light rods and my light rods, and actually quite a few of my medium spinning rods. I like using those for my finesse fishing, which I finesse fish most of the time anyway. I'll power fish when I have to, but if I'm like, most of what you have to do up here in New York is, well, upstate New York anyway, is it's mostly finesse fishing. It's really, I mean, yes, there are times when you power fish up here, and that can be really beneficial to you, but I mostly like finesse fishing just because that's the style I'm most accustomed to, because smallmouth. But anyway, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a double uni knot, or whatever the hell you call it. So I'm gonna make so with the braid, I'm gonna make a loop around my backing, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through that loop 3 times. It's actually really not all that challenging. 2 and 3. And then I'm going to pull that tight. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my backing. I'm going to loop that side around the braid. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to do the same thing there. I'm going to pull that tight. And then what I'm going to do from both sides is pull them both tight. And there you go. Now we've got my backing married right up to my braided line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip that down as close as I can get, because sometimes, not usually, but oh, well, we're gonna have to do that over again, because I trimmed the wrong one. I snipped my braid right off. So, you know, we'll go over it again just for giggles. So 1, 2, and 3 over my monofilament backing. And then we're going to do 1, 2, can't tie worth a shit this morning, 3 over my braided line with my mono. Simba, get out of here. Yeah, my cat's being nosy. Okay, now we're going to pull that tight again. And now we're going to make sure that we've got the right one in hand. Snip that down as close as you can, because although it doesn't happen all the time, sometimes if a fish really spools you, and I mean, if this is like a big ass fish, like most fish don't do it, but like if it spools you down and you get down to the backing somehow, you don't want that getting caught in your reel and impeding on your ability to fight the fish the way you want to, because it can get stuck. And so what you want to do is make sure that when the line is rolling off, I've learned this from experience, when the line's rolling off the spool, you want it to reel off or roll off the top, because I've gathered that prevents tangles best. nothing's ever going to prevent tangles, but you know, it does what it needs to do. And so what we're doing is we're just going to start spooling her onto the reel, and you know, just don't rush through it. Take it as slow as you need to. Make sure that you don't have line bunching up on it or anything like that, because I've had that happen before where I'll just have line just making a whole pile on there, and it's not a good day when it does that. And honestly, also another tip is, like, you can always hold on one second. So always, this is just my from my experience, when you're putting line on, it is better to have put too much line on than too little, because then you're winding up having to tie on like another uni knot or whatever, and that kind of just messes with your whole setup here. Yeah, so yep, just check it and all that stuff throughout the time you're spooling, because that really helps. What I've got going right now is it's 8-pound translucent braid by Spiderwire, and I've used so many line brands that it, you know, to be quite honest with you, nowadays it's just kind of mixing and matching everything. So it's yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it's better to have put too much line on than it is to have put too little on, because you can always subtract line, and you can add line too, but it doesn't make it really all that easy to add line. I speak again from experience. So that should be, yeah, that should be plenty. Yeah, that should be plenty of line. Well, plenty of braid anyway. So lately, along with my braid, I've been, well, ever since I kind of figured out how to manage all of it. Actually, we can spool all that right on. That's not gonna hurt. And if we gotta subtract, we gotta subtract. No worries there. But that'll be just fine. And what I like to do, yep, perfect. Yep, so we've got our braid on there. Yep, so we've spooled off an entire thing of braid. And so now we are going to get our fluorocarbon leader. So with 8-pound braid, I like using one step lower. So I like using the 6-pound fluoro for leader. And what I'm gonna do, the same thing that I did a few minutes ago here, and we're gonna loop her on there and marry the fluoro to the braid here. I know some guys like to use a swivel, all depending on, you know, what. It really just depends on preferences and what type of lure you're gonna put on there. For me, with this rod, I don't know what I'm gonna plan on doing yet. I think I'm gonna do a Ned rig on this one, or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And so now do that second knot. Henry's telling us we're doing a good job here, so that's a good sign. 2 and number 3. Pull that tight, pull those 2 tight, and just like we did last time. I'm gonna snip that down as close as we can, especially for casting purposes on that. And okay, make sure we've got good strength there, and we do. What I'm gonna do is just reel ever so little onto here. I like putting maybe 6 to 8 feet worth of fluoro on here, just because yeah, that'll be plenty. Basically a nice rod length worth of it. Maybe some change just for your lure and stuff like that, but there you have it. We've got a good setup here. And yeah, that's the episode. I'll have everything that I used linked down below. Some of it won't come off its company's websites. I'll probably link some of it, or I'll link some of it from Bass Pro down below and all that stuff. And thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will see you guys next time on Early Bird Outdoors. So take care, and to all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day.